Hey guys, so today is going to be an update for a major patch that came in a couple of days ago for Skyweaver. And there are a certain number of cards that were updated, and that's what we're going to cover. Plus, there was also a new additional update for their wallet, which will allow you to actually swap in Sequence wallet, which is awesome. But do take note that this is going to be in Polygon Network. I can show you here. So let's say this is your wallet, so I only have like 49 cents. Then if you want to swap, you can just click swap here and select the coin that you have there, which I only have is USDC. Then you can select the coin you want to swap it to. Now take note, it already mentions here that everything is in Polygon Network, so you can swap them in either USDT, DAI, ETH, Matic, WMatic, AVAX, WBTC. So of course by default, normally you would pick Matic, but of course if you want to use something else, then sure, go ahead. Then afterwards you can just send these tokens back to your MetaMask wallet if you want. So that's a pretty good feature added in that makes it a lot more easier to do some swaps instead of going to Polygon, then doing another swap there. At least it's easier here. Alright, then let's go to the meat and potatoes of the update, which is the cards. So there are 10 modified cards, some were nerfed, some were buffed. So the first card that was updated is Crusher. So Crusher is a 4-mana card that summons, well, not exactly summons, but it actually disables enemies that has armor, which is actually fairly good. It's a 4-mana 4/3 with armor itself, which is very resilient on its own, but it turns out that it had very little use in Constructed. In Discovery, which is where I played the most, I think for me the card was pretty alright, because you tend to fight a lot of enemies like Ari, have a lot of armor creatures, so this unit is actually a very good counter for those. But the change that they did here is that they changed the lead into Twisted Metal, so they have this card here for Twisted Metal. It's a good removal card. So I think this is an upgrade for Crusher. So this is a pretty good update for this particular card. The next card is Blitz. So this is a 1-mana card spell. So before it used to be return your hand to deck, draw 3 cards, deal 2 damage to your hero. Now they just removed the 2 damage to hero, so you can still return your hand to your deck and draw 3 cards. So I think it's a buff, so it's a pretty good update for that card. So yeah, next one, Psyche. I love this card. This card is very strong even in Discovery, because it's a 2-mana card with 3/5 stats. It's insane. The only downside it has is that it has the enemy draws a card. But if it's an early game, drawing a card doesn't really matter. You just drop this card and the enemy will have a very hard time trying to figure out how to actually remove a 3/5 statted minion on the board at turn 2 or turn 1, right? That's pretty insane. So this card is super strong early game. And the only thing they removed here is Lifesteal. It's a small debuff, but overall this card is still fairly strong. I still love that card. Card Slaying, so they buffed this card. So this card used to only deal 2 damage. Now they made it 3 damage. Wow. And this is to a target. So this means that you can target it to a hero. So yeah, I think this card is very good. Like super good. I mean, for me initially it was already good, but I guess the devs felt that it needed a little bit more buff. So I guess, yeah, so that card would be insane right now. Tragic Poet. So I like this card because it's a 1-mana card and it's a 2/1, and it has this particular attachment or enchantment that also does -1 HP to all creatures, or all enemy creatures, I think, or all creatures. I think it's all creatures. Then yeah, so this is a very strong 1-mana card because it has banner, and it dies. It gives your spells -1 cost. So they nerfed this to a certain extent. So instead of all spells on your hand that will get -1 cost, it's only going to give the left and rightmost spells. So that's the only nerf they did for this card. Still, I think this card is still super strong. Gift of Aya. I rarely see this card in Discovery. They removed the banner part. So what banner does is that when you cast a spell, it gives your hero additional damage, like 1 damage, which is very big because that will allow the hero to actually take out certain units that you couldn't take out initially, right? So having this 5-mana spell gives you banner, gives you 1 maximum mana, then gives your hero 5 health, and it draws your highest cost earth card. So it does a lot of things for 5-mana card. It's pretty strong, but It's a slow card because, you know, you're not really gonna be able to do anything, but removing that banner is, I think, kind of, I don't know, I think it's a big nerf now, I guess. You know, the banner is important because it gives the flexibility for your hero to do something at least for that particular turn, because it's a 5 mana card. You know, right now it's technically, you know, it's a 5 mana card, do nothing, but it heals you 5. It kind of nerfed the card a little bit too much. Because at 5th turn you don't want to just cast a 5 mana card, right? And nothing on the board, so it's pretty, I don't know, it's weaker now, I guess. Bubbles, I love this card. This card is fairly strong, especially early game, because you this card can get buffed even with your mana potions, which are 0 cost, but now they can't. They had to nerf it because it was too strong. You're able to buff up this card quite easily. Because of the mana potions, because they're free initially. Whenever you start your play, your hero already has a 0 mana potion, and you know that already contributes to the buff for this particular card. So what they did is that instead of just any water card, they required you to have a 1 cost or more water card, and they will buff this creature for +1/+1. It's a little bit of a nerf, but I think it's still good. Next, Mr. Whiskers. I hate this card because this card is pretty strong for 4 mana. Although it only has 2 damage, but it has, what do you call this? Oh my gosh, I forgot what it's called. I talked about this in my previous video. But anyways, it has this. So that means that you can't target spells on it the moment you drop it. And it has guard. And it's a 2/6, it's pretty thick, right? So, I mean, at turn 2, you cast your 2 mana, your 0 mana potion that gives you 2 mana. Then drop this card, then you pretty much can't do anything to it. You can, you know, counter it maybe with certain removal cards, but, you know, I mean, it's gonna take you at least 2 cards to get rid of this because it's really thick. So they nerfed this from 7 health to 6 health. I still think it's still thick, so I still think this card is still good. Earth Warden, so it's a 2 mana card, 0/5. Summon, draw and attach your lowest cost Earth spell to this unit. So they nerfed it from 6 health to 5 health. Yeah, I think that's a good nerf. It's pretty thick again, but it's 0 damage, so it's not something, you know, detrimental for you, but lowering that health puts it at risk of losing whatever the Earth spell it took. If it's a low mana Earth spell, you can cast it immediately, no problem, but if it's a high mana Earth spell, then, you know, you might lose this card before you can even cast a spell. But yeah, I think it's a slight nerf, so it's still okay card. Frigid Blizzard, so this is something I'm really bummed about because this is a very hard carry card, especially for Ahri, because Ahri is my main when I'm using it, when I'm playing in Ranked or Conquest for Discovery specifically. So I really need this card because it takes out pretty much the entire board, well, including yours if you have units, because it damages all creatures. So what happens here is that it will attach Frostbite to enemy units, then it will deal 2 damage before. Now they nerfed it to 1 damage, and that's very big. Because instead of being able to deal a maximum of 4 damage to the enemy creatures, once they have, you know, been frostbitten, now you can only do 3 damage, so that's pretty big. It's already implemented, so I haven't played yet in Skyweaver, so I haven't seen yet in actual play, but definitely this is going to hurt Ahri in the overall perspective of the game, because this is one of the best AoE spells out there at 5 mana. Anyway, so we'll see how the meta goes moving forward. So I think that's the last card, so those are the 10 cards. So some of them were pretty impactful, some of them were just okay. I mean, good nerf, good updates overall. Right, then the next update that they had is the mini expansion. So they're gonna have 10 additional cards that will be added into the set, but they're slowly releasing them in terms of you know, what those cards are. So the first card that they actually leaked is Amarat's Well for Earth. So attach anima to units in your deck without an attachment, draw a unit. Fairly good, I like that. You know, anima, as I mentioned in my previous video, is super strong. It's just that you need to find a way to trigger that anima spell. So what anima does is that it gives your creatures +2/+2. Right, so it's an enchantment, so if you manage to trigger that enchantment, then automatically it gives your creature, you know, buffs. So having all of the units that do not have attachments, anima, is pretty good. I think it's gonna be good for strength, because they have quite a number of creatures that do not have any attachments, but you know, they're really meaty units, a lot of health or stats with them. So I think this is a pretty good card. So they will still release them, I guess, slowly. So I guess they reminded here that you just follow their Twitter and you can actually see if the, you know, if you want to see the latest updates for the new release cards that they're going to be showing. So you can check in their Twitter account for the latest updates. All right, then lastly, they're gonna have a tournament. So if you want to join in, it's free. I'm gonna join in. So this is the tournament that they have. It's in the Esports Hub. So I mean, the price is not that big. It's only $100. For second prize, I think it's going to be. Did they mention it here? Oh, it's only gonna be first and second. So first is $70. Second is $30. Not that big, but it's a best of 3. It's a 1v1 discovery game, and you know, I mean, I play a lot of discovery, so I guess I'm gonna try and see if I can win. We'll see. I have to practice a bit. It's gonna be this Sunday, so it's gonna be March 6th, 2 p.m. GMT. So just take note of that. If you want to join in, just sign in to Esports Hub and create your own team. I mean, you only need yourself within that team, then register. Then you'll be able to participate in the tournament. So I'm gonna cross my fingers. So hopefully I do well. All right, so yeah, so I think that's the last update, and that's it for my update on Skyweaver. So in the near future, I'm gonna make, you know, additional videos and tutorials for Skyweaver, so keep an eye on that one. And yeah, so definitely this is something really good. If you want to play Skyweaver, I highly recommend it. You know, not only for you to be able to earn, but you know, just to enjoy a really good game that has been in production for years, right? And the quality of the game is really good. Highly recommended. So yeah, so with that, guys, thank you for watching the video. Hope to see you again in future videos. Stay safe, people.